Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Corey Lumpur. I didn't plan to make a video today, but I just came off a job interview with a guy who's working in a senior management position at a big corporation. And just speaking with this guy reminded me of one of the biggest things that I hate about job interviews. Now, first of all, some of you may be wondering, what the hell is this guy doing? He's trying to interview with some employer. Is he going to go work for someone else? The long story short is I don't really do job interviews nowadays, but I just happened to have this one land in my lap, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to try and see if I can get an offer out of this, because I think it would be pretty funny if I did. If anything, the consolation prize is I get to make a bunch of video content, because I think it's pretty interesting to talk about these job interviews without any filter, the way that no one likes to talk about, because they're too busy trying to be politically correct and positive to everyone around them. So the thing that I hate about these interviewers is that 1 in 8 or 1 in 10 of them have this superiority complex, where they think that they are working in a upper management position, getting paid $300K a year, which is what I think this guy over here is currently making in his current role. And they think that they are better than you because they're on the other side of the camera, and you, as the interviewee, are there to try to impress them, try to grovel at their feet, trying to say all the things that you think will make them like you, so that they will eventually sign off after the interview and check the little checkbox after the interview is done, saying this guy should move on to the next stage of the interview. Let's let him go at the next round. So the problem with all of this is that their superiority complex comes from the same place as like the hottest girl in the club, right? They think that they are the hottest girl at the club. But unfortunately, unlike the hottest girl in the club, their status is not as deserved as they believe it is. Because just because they're getting paid like 300, 400, 500K a year and being in this high level position with a fancy ass title doesn't make them special, because this guy literally probably has at least 6 to 10 other people in his region earning the same amount of money, having the same exact job title as he does. He's not special, he's not unique, and there's a ton of other people across the industry, across white collar employee work, who are also earning 3, 4, 500K a year. And the problem really comes from the same place as the hot girl in the club, right? Just like how like a billion guys throw their heads and hands at her feet in order to try to impress her. The reason why these people are where they are is because a lot of people in white collar enjoy simping for them. You see, if you probably make like 100K or 150K a year, you're going to be really fucking impressed by the guy who's making literally double or triple or quadruple the amount of money that you make. And as a result, the tendency for most people in white collar is when they see these people in upper management, they're going to simp for them, just like the guys will simp for the hot girl in the club, because they think by hanging out with this guy, by saying all the nice things, trying to kiss his ass, they'll eventually favor them, and they'll pick them to get the promotion. They'll pick them to get into this special project that ultimately ends in a leadership role a few years down the road for them as well. And it's really, really sad. You get like job interviewees trying to impress the shit out of them as well. It's really also sad that these people, right, on both ends, both the people simping because they're on the lower ranks of white collar, earning a measly 100, 200K a year, and the people in these upper ranks of management earning 3, 4, 500, 600, sometimes even 7, 800K a year, think that they're like these hot shots because they're earning so much money, not realizing that there's a ton of other people who are also in the same rank across different companies and across the industry, blah, 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 in white collar, who are also earning that much. Granted, that may be at a lower frequency than the number of guys making 100K a year, but you're not that special, bro. The other thing is that there's a ton of people outside of white collar who are earning almost as much, just as much, or sometimes even more money than the guys in those levels make in white collar. But again, nobody really knows that because it's not widely talked about. Those jobs are usually very innocuous. They're kind of jobs where you visually stereotype them to not be making a lot of money, such as the guy chopping your chicken and chopping the barbecue char siu rice at the chicken rice stall in the hawker center in Malaysia. Some of those guys actually make a shit ton of money, you know, at the same level or above middle to upper management in white collar work. But you're not going to assume that they do, because they're working in a filthy ass hawker center with grimy ass floors, with disgusting ass bathrooms that you don't want to use as a customer, and they're covered in fucking sweat for the entire day as they're chopping their chicken, and they smell like fucking grease because they've been cooking for too long. You won't expect that guy to be earning 200-300K a year, but some of those guys actually do, after taxes, after business expenses. On the other kind of cleaner end of things, you know, I know a wedding photographer who actually owns his own studio, and he makes something like 50 to 100,000 ringgit a fucking month after business expenses, after taxes. That is 12 to 20,000 US dollars a month after taxes. How much do you have to make earning, you know, in the US, you know, before taxes in order to get that amount? Something like $400,000 a year. That's about the amount of money that I think this guy in the interview just now makes at his job as probably an H-1B worker. So there's a ton of opportunities out there that pay a shitload of money, but people just keep simping for these guys because they're in this well-dressed, buttoned-up collar shirts, and they're so professional and clean. Therefore, they must be respected at all times, unlike the guy who's chopping the chicken at the chicken rice store. The other thing that's pretty unique about this particular interview, like I said, it's not my first rodeo out there. It's not the first time that I've encountered such an interviewer before. But it is the first time that I've revealed the fact that I've been trading on a regular basis, just put it at that. And this guy, you know, being in the same industry and having worked with traders as well, knows this like trading terminology that he tried to quiz me on that I wasn't able to answer. And that's just really one of the sad things about you know, people working in white collar, because just because they have like a ton of knowledge, they know all the science behind things, they have all these you know, fancy vocabulary that they use, doesn't mean that they're making money off of that, right? You may know a bunch of theories and shit like that, but that don't mean squat in terms of your money making potential, because no matter how hard and how long you work in white collar, you're getting the same fucking paycheck every single month. So this guy tries to quiz me on like these different trading terms and stuff like that. Oh, since you do trading, you must be familiar with all these terms and how they affect like the pricing in the market and blah 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 blah. And to me, it's a bunch of bullshit, because I'll talk about this in a different video, because it's a longer thing that I want to talk about. But the long story short is, I don't rely on much when I trade, right? I don't use indicators. I just look at the chart. I don't read any fucking news. In fact, I avoid reading the news. I'm not this guy who is like the stereotype trader that a lot of NPCs like to think that that's how trading works, right? That you wake up every morning, you check all your millions of charts, and then you read all the different news headlines to see what Donald Trump is saying, so that you can prepare yourself on how that's going to affect the prices of all the instruments that you trade. Fuck all of that. You know, the way that I trade is by looking at the goddamn charts, looking at price action, drawing a few lines on them. That's it. I'm not swimming in cash right now, but I'm literally this fucking close to being able to scale that amount to making a buttload of money, more money than I would ever fucking make at a white collar employee job. If I can even get into those upper level management positions by smoking people's asses, which I'm not good at, and making 500K a year. That's way more potential, and I don't need to work on my bullshitting skills in order to make that money. So he tries to quiz me all this stuff, and I can't answer half of that shit. But guess what? Don't matter, because I'm making money out of that. And he's telling me that I need to look up this concept and that concept and blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, since you trade, you should look up this, that, and the other concept. Bro, you don't even trade for a living, because you work in a company where you're not allowed to even trade like on a personal basis at all. What are you doing telling me what the fuck I should be doing? Bro, like if all these terms that you have mentioned, that you have suggested because you're so smart, earning 300K a year as a H-1B middle upper management guy in a big corporation, are so effective. Why don't you go look them up yourself, and why don't you just quit your job and you do the trading, right? If those things are things that you recommend people to do, to look up, to research, then you better have the same fucking results to be able to prove that it's worth my fucking time to go look up these different techniques and terms and blah, blah, blah in order to incorporate them into my trading technique. Because fuck all of that, like I said. If what I'm doing is simple as A, B, fucking C, and I'm able to make money off of that shit, I don't need to understand all these bullshit terms. The only reason why I need to understand all the bullshit terms in the first place is to be able to enter the white collar world again and be able to smoke my ass to the top. Because that's how a lot of middle management, upper management roles work. Like I said in a previous video, it's not about what you know, it's not about your skills, it's not about your real work that you are able to do, it's not about how productive your day is, it's about your ability to lie and get away with it. It's your ability to smoke your way up, right? To lying and also kissing the right asses at the right time. And just be able to do a lot of nasty soft skills in order to manipulate your way to earning, something like $250,000 to $750,000 a year. That's how it works. And that's what really pisses me off. Like the ignorance on both sides is astounding. And the superiority complex of a lot of these white collar characters is just plain fucking insufferable. And that's the reason why I enjoy making these videos about like white collar employee life and stuff like that, because this is the truth that a lot of people aren't going to tell you because they're too politically correct. They don't want to seem like too negative. They don't want to seem like they're a complainer all the time, blah, 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 blah. Fuck all of that, because I believe in telling the truth first rather than trying to protect other people's little fee-fees, And yeah. I just introduced one of the most annoying personality types that I've ever come across in interviews to you, and I hope this video was useful and I hope you learned something. I'll talk about all these other things that I mentioned in this video in more detail in future videos, but that's it for today, and I hope you learned something. See you all in the next video. Goodbye.